Satan, who came to Yeshua and offered him all the kingdoms, all the power, all the glory of this world, because he said, it has been delivered unto me, and whomsoever I will, I give it. And so we see it goes all the way back to who really inspired things at Babylon, and we were told to have nothing to do with it. So, young lady, you are exactly right. There is no Santa Claus that comes down the chimney. All of these are traditions that came out of Babylon, and they kept on changing in different cultures. But this is one of these traditions that Yahweh said, do not learn the way the heathen do their things. Do not worship their gods, the God of prosperity, the way that the heathen do, and say you're doing it for me. It's an abomination. Now some people will say, oh, that's not what Santa Claus is all about. But, you know, all we had to do is go down to the shopping mall for the last weeks before Christmas, right? Go down there, and who do they have sitting on his throne? A cherry red, pot-bellied God of prosperity that children come up and sit in the lap of Chemish, and they present their list of what they want for Christmas, for the child mass. It's like their parents are now having their children present it as they sit in the lap of this cherry red God of prosperity. But we no longer incinerate little babies in the hands of Santa Claus, do we? That's not done anymore. What they do in America is they abort millions of babies all year long so that there is not the additional financial strain on whoever was going to have the baby. And then on December 25th, they all give gifts to each other to celebrate the prosperity that they just charged up on their charge cards. Now, right after everyone gets through charging their credit cards to the limit, then they have everyone get before the Christmas tree, which we read about in the scriptures. It says that in Jeremiah, it says, do not be dismayed at the heathen. Don't follow the heathen, for they do this. They cut a tree out of the woods, the work of a workman with an axe. They fasten the tree with hammer and nails so that it doesn't topple over, and then they deck it with gold and silver balls. They deck it with gold and silver. This is exactly how Ra was worshipped. Now, in our culture, in Israel, we started to use evergreen trees, what's called the groves, which we were told to cut down all the groves and to get rid of them. But these groves of evergreen trees is what we did in Israel, but in Egypt, they actually used a palm tree. They decked it with gold and silver balls, which represents the testicles of Ra, and then the children get on their hands and knees, and then they take their presents out from under the tree, or they give their presents to the pagan god underneath the tree. This was done thousands of years ago. And in America, as less than 250 years ago, on this continent, it was illegal to have a Christmas tree because the pilgrims who escaped from the pagan sun god worship that became inculcated into the Roman Empire in their religious system, the pilgrims who came over knew that it was pagan sun god worship. In fact, if you had your church doors open on Christmas Day, the pastor would be put in jail. It was illegal in America because the people who founded America, who came to get their freedom out of Europe, came over here at the risk of their life. They had been tortured to death. They had been killed. Their tongues had been pulled out and cut off because they spoke out against the Roman Church that had brought in all this pagan sun god worship into it through Constantine. Now, when we took a stand on this continent, we said that we are going to separate ourselves. We are going to get free from Mystery Babylon. We are coming out of Babylon. We are going to set up on this nation, and we are going to found this nation upon everyone's ability to govern themselves according to the commandments of Yahweh. And that's where America started out. But because very few people are teaching righteousness, and everyone is into the cherry red pot-bellied God of prosperity, no one is telling the truth anymore. But since you asked, this is a good time to know the truth. Because when you know the truth sets you free from every man-made religion on the planet. You know that when we know the truth, and we know that we only have to obey Yahweh, that at that point, we don't have to follow any of the rules and regulations that men set up to govern their religious systems. And we are set completely free. So now that you've taken the red pill, now that you know the truth, now we can go back to Sinai and recognize the first commandment. Yahweh is our Elohim. We are to have no other gods before him, no other gods in his face. And we are not to learn the way of the heathen. And that is why what we celebrate is the only winter festival that we read about in the New Testament, the only festival that Yeshua kept in the wintertime in Jerusalem, and that is the Feast of Hanukkah. Because Hanukkah is a celebration of deliverance from pagan sun god worship. And so now, this will be the last time that we sit here in front of this fire, because now you know that Santa Claus, there's no such thing. When we trace it all the way back, this cherry red suit represents Satan and the sacrifice of innocent children. It represents the worship of pagan gods. It represents those people who do not know the Elohim, the creator of the universe. They are without God and without hope in this world, and we are to be the ones who are his priests, his prophets, the ones that tell the whole world the truth about the worship of the true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so now you know the rest of the story.